And our Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit with us. So, the study will be called War on the Rise. Let's get into it. Alright, so as we can see, things are definitely getting hotter as we approach Armageddon in this last battle. Definitely studying, day in, day out, getting this money. You feel me? Brothers and sisters, honestly, as I just read a previous study before this study here, this is definitely a divine adventure. I can't say I would have wanted this life to be any other way, as there are sad truths, but at the same time, all of this that we're going through and that's happening down here is just a shadow of what we're about to get ourselves into. And I'm talking about the kingdom of heaven. Like, if we continue on this way and we make it to the kingdom of heaven, what was it all for? Actions and your words are what you judge for. Every time I think it's time to put the mic down, pick it back up, or Abba tell me lift up. It's time to get this money. At the end of the day, brothers and sisters, we're all in this life. This is what it is. And it's either we're going to be true or false. Like you see this snake down there. This is a screenshot, but that's Drake, the snake, the devil. Yeah, man. And he's a Jew. I looked up these guys. This guy's a Jew. Like, stuff is crazy, right? All right, so look. United States and Israel launching massive joint military exercise to send a message to Iran and others, to their enemies. Okay, right? But we're going to get deeper into this because what's going on between the United States and Israel, right? All right, so let's just keep it going. Now, I'm going to have to probably jump a little bit around, but for the most part, this is pretty much in order. All right, so boom. We got them going that. Okay. So then I get emails that come to my phone about news articles that I do read, Father willing, if they are of importance. So good morning. Israel's new right-wing government is moving quickly to trench from the country. So we'll get into more of this article, but let's just read the top right now. So rush to change. Israel's government, the most right-wing in its history. So they're calling it the most right-wing in its history. Is barely 3 weeks old and already leaving its mark, quickly pressing ahead with legislation that critics fear will erode Israeli democracy. So they're fearing that it will erode Israeli democracy. I actually want to look up what the word erode means because I didn't do that before. Okay, so they're saying that the critics fear will erode Israeli democracy. So let's look up democracy and erode real fast, brothers and sisters, just so we can get a clear idea what we're talking about. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Road. I'm already at the ERs. Okay, so erode is wear away. So that critics fear will wear away government in which the power is vested in all the people. Equality of rights. So critics fear will wear away Israeli government in which the power is vested in all the people. Equality of rights. So they're going to take away the equality as they've been doing spiritually, but so now it's just festering out into the flesh. Wow. So that's what's happening. They're taking away the democracy, not just in Israel, the entire world, as we talked about before, if you saw the previous video, moving into this one world order. But first it has to come a one world currency. And as the countries get together and the nations and the sovereigns get together going against our Father and his Messiah, this is just what they're doing. They're coming together. So, all right, bet. So Benjamin Netanyahu, this is that false prophet. Who cares even pronounce this guy's name? Benjamin, the false prophet, has returned as prime minister, this time leading a coalition of conservative, far-right, and ultra-orthodox parties. So again, let's look up that word. Coalition. Coalition or coalition. Either or, let's figure it out. Because they also try to, this is why I have a dictionary with me, because they also try to get on us. Like, they try to use words, obviously, that you don't hear every day, so that we don't know what they're talking about. Because I can tell you one thing for sure, I don't hear that word every day. But this is why I keep a dictionary with me. Because we will figure it out. Father willing. Black Mineral Coalition. COAL. Union. Okay. So this time, leading a union of conservative, far-right, and ultra-orthodox parties. Okay. So that's the beginning of that article. So, okay. That's what's going on, right? Oh, no, I have it right here. Okay, awesome. All right, so, yeah, so she's saying she spoke with Isabel Kirchner's a correspondent in the Times Jerusalem Bureau about the right's push to transform Israel. So they're transforming Israel. What is the new government trying to accomplish? He asked. The right-wing parties in the union are all extremely ideological. Hold on, let's pause right there and look that up. Because they're saying that they are extremely, that word. So, let's see. Okay, so ideological system of beliefs as of a group. So they are all extremely, I assume, about their system of beliefs as of a group. And the false prophet has made a lot of concessions to them. Okay, so let's look that up too. Because we're not gonna play. We don't got time to play. Not time to play with you devils. Trying to over there lie to us, boy. Okay, concession. A conceding thing, consented franchise as for selling or food. So a lot of has made a lot of concessions to them. So has made a lot of admitting to truths to them, because that's what concede means. So they made a lot of admitting as true, grant as right. So they've done a lot of admitting as true and granting as a right. Okay, so that's what he's been doing to them. To them, the right-wing parties and the coalition and the union are all extremely ideological. And the false prophet has made a lot of admitting to truths to them, granting as right to them. Okay, the new Minister of National Security is an ultra-nationalist who has been convicted of inciting anti-Arab racism. So he's a racist. He got more authority over the police. The new hard-right finance minister is claiming more authority over Jewish settlements and civilian affairs in the occupied West Bank ultra-Orthodox. So what that makes me think about right there is when our brothers had to rebuke our other brothers. I forgot the names, but in the book of Acts, when he was like, they're saying that the Greek Jews are being, like not treated well over here. We need to treat everybody the same way, So basically saying he has favoritism towards the Jews is what it seems like. And it's racism towards who he's racist toward. Okay. So he's got favoritism. All right. Well, as we saw before, that's obviously not going to end well. And there's already a lot of beef going on out there in Israel. So, and that's not even just between them, because this is not even to get into the Muslim beef and the Christianity, and it's just a lot going on. All right, so let's just keep moving, right? Because we have the United Nations. Curious, right? I spoke about this in my last video, but let's get into it more, right? So you obviously look this up yourself. This is the United Nations, because if all you have to question this, there's only two countries that are not a part of the United Nations: the Holy City, the Vatican, where the Pope is, and the Palestinians. Well, they found a Palestine grave years later, which I found, and they're saying, do they derive from the Philistines? Okay, so let's just get into it. But question is, if every single country except for quote unquote 2 countries are not with them, will also see what the United Nations stands for and will question, how are these countries going to war amongst each other? But they're claiming they're all in the United Nations amongst each other. So stay with me now. Obviously, like even thinking about the war with Russia and Ukraine, there's obviously people who don't know what's going on, like how there's brothers and sisters out here who go to the war, don't know what's going on. We are dealing with the higher ups in this wicked place, as Ephesians 2:2 speaks on. This is what we're battling against. Controlling the things behind the scenes. Father willing, the veil will be ripped off for everybody down here so everybody can see what's going on, right? So, founding members of the United Nations. The Charter of the United Nations was crafted by the United States, United Kingdom, Russia, and China in the aftermath of World War II. And so they could have used the war to say, okay, now we're going to come together. And signed by 50 countries on June 26, 1945, Poland, which could not attend the initial event, added a signature on October 15, 1945, to become the 51st founding member. The charter took effect on October 24, 1945, making the official birth of the United Nations and its connected International Court of Justice. Since 1945, some of the founding member states have dissolved Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Soviet Union, and new states have succeeded them, and others have changed their names. The founding members include the United States, France, the United States, and so on and so forth. So now we're going to go here to see the countries not in the United Nations. It is actually quite unusual for a country to exist without being a member of the United Nations. And I want you to note that, right? So they're saying it's actually quite unusual for a country to exist without becoming a member of the United Nations, simply because one of the required steps in becoming a country is to be recognized by the United Nations, to go through them, as they try to make you go through them for everything. However, there are 2 permanent non-member observer states that arguably fit the description. Let's see why. The Holy See, Vatican City, and Palestine. As non-member observer states, both countries are welcomed in the General Assembly and have access to most United Nations benefits and service opportunities, but cannot cast votes. Both permanent observer states also have the potential to join the United Nations eventually as full members. Now, I remember reading up on the Holy See Vatican City, because I'm not sure if I screenshotted it, but basically the Pope obviously is a false prophet trying to show that he's a righteous man. He's saying that he doesn't want to be involved with human worldly affairs. Well, not human, but worldly affairs. Because obviously he's trying to make it seem like he's so holy, righteous, whatever, just capping. But so yeah, so obviously they're trying to act like us, but they're not us, So he's basically acting like us, but he's not us, trying to be like, I'm not in this worldly stuff, but he's all the way deep in this worldly stuff because he sold his soul to the devil. So that is what it is. So let's keep it going. So Palestine, this is the reason why they're not in this. Palestine, although it has applied for full United Nations membership, they're saying multiple times, Palestine has been limited to permanent observer status because of its violent and ongoing territorial dispute with the United Nations member Israel. Now, we're also going to get into what the second president of the United States spoke of about Israel and why the United States gets so serious about Christianity, because the founding fathers believed the scriptures to be true, believed the Bible to be true, and they used the Bible, which I will read to you all about, to build up this country. And they're trying to, and their goal was to force everybody to be under the ban of Christianity, because that's just obviously, what's going on, they're paganism. So they're trying to push it into the entire world. And our brothers and sisters that were here, if you saw the previous videos, wouldn't call us necessarily Indians, but locals, natives, originals. We all come from different clans, different tribes out here, from United States to Canada to South America to Jamaica, Haiti, all these different islands. You can look that information for yourselves. You can just see that it was our skin color type of people, and you can ask, because I know that I do have Indian, as they would say, in my family, but I just know it's our brothers and sisters from other tribes. You can ask for yourselves, but just note that I'm telling you this because I just want you to know where you come from, who you are, and to know that you are truly a Gentile, and you come from a peoples that have different gods, but we can be grafted in on the tree. We can be rooted in onto the tree, but just know that our Father didn't even spare the angels when they sin. So if you sin, you will be cut off of that tree. Just like Yohanan was saying, the axe is at the root of the trees. So we need to go and bear good fruit, and we need to prove with our actions that we are true. All right. So the Palestinians, I believe that, this is a true thing, that they're not letting them get in because of the dispute with the United Nations member Israel, because they want, obviously, everybody to be on the same band, even on Satan's team. Like Messiah said, Satan cannot be against Satan. You feel me? That's just not how it's going to be. You feel me? But just know their team operates differently, as they have the unholy spirit. We have the Holy Spirit. We're operating with the sons of light, the master of lights, the father of lights. They have the literal prince of the air, prince of darkness. That's just who they're running with, so this is the different things that's going on, right? So let's continue. Although a majority of United Nations members, 138 of 193, as well as fellow observer state Vatican City, Holy See, have recognized Palestine as a sovereign state worthy of membership, several crucial members, including the United States, United Kingdom, and France, 3 permanent members of the Security Council, refused to allow Palestine to become a member until its conflict with Israel is resolved peacefully. Should Israel and Palestine peacefully come to an agreement, it is likely that the United Nations will vote to grant Palestine full membership status. However, as the conflict has already endured for more than 50 years and defied repeated attempts to achieve a peaceful resolution, the likelihood the likelihood of such a solution materializing appears low. Independent states not yet fully recognized country by the United Nations. Although the Holy See and Palestine are not full members, they are recognized as independent states. I'm not sure if I got that. Hold on. Yeah, they're hold on. They are recognized as independent states. However, there also exist many additional states and territories that hope to be recognized as countries. Yeah, I don't think I got that. Let's repeat. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, so many things I can say about this. So I was reading a study about Holocaust, because I looked that up actually like some months back, just looking about how sad that is, about how this actually happened. Like all the wicked stuff they were doing. Like I read about a story so sad it breaks my little heart. Like they were dangling carrots and food in front of toddlers, the Jewish babies. I did a whole study on the Holocaust, and broke my heart. Honestly, one of my favorite teachers from 5th grade. She was a Jew. She was crying during her showing us the Holocaust. And that was very sad, and it stuck with me for some time. So, all right, so the Holocaust, they're doing a memorial. Palestine, one of them comes and kills some of the people over there. And then they do this. So, Palestinians celebrate Jerusalem synagogue massacre with fireworks and sweets. Right? So that's what's going on. On the Shabbat, on the Sabbath, in the synagogue, during the Holocaust remembrance. Is that wicked or what? And then to top it off, they literally celebrate with massacre, with fireworks and sweets. It's very sad. Now, here we go. We got the false prophet again. So tensions have been high since 9 Palestinians, both militants and civilians, were killed during an Israeli military raid in Jenin in the occupied West Bank on Thursday. Okay, this was followed by rocket fire into Israel from Gaza, which Israel responded to with airstrikes. So they're already going at it. Tensions. Wars brewing. The synagogue shooting happened on Holocaust Memorial Day, which commemorates the 6 million Jew and other victims who were killed in the Holocaust by the Nazi regime in Germany. British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly wrote on Twitter to attack. I'm not sure where I got that from, but as in like where that ended off at right here. But so the next thing I just screenshotted was President Joe Biden talked to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and offered all appropriate means of support, the White House said. So they're saying, as they already did a joint military exercise, obviously, they're saying you have our support. If you go to war, we will be with you. Shortly after the incident, Mr. Netanyahu visited the site, as did the controversial far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. A spokesperson for the Israeli military said on Saturday that they were boosting their forces in the occupied West Bank. upping their forces. Mr. Ben-Gvir promised to bring safety back to Israel's streets, but there is rising anger that he has not yet done so. So he's just capping. Says the BBC's Yolanda Nell in Jerusalem. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres was deeply worried about the current escalation of violence in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territory, a spokesperson said. So he's worried about the current escalation of violence. Let's look at escalation real fast in the dictionary. So escalation, rise, expand, or increase. So he's deeply worried about the current rise, expand, or increase of violence in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territory. This is the moment to exercise utmost restraint. Israel has occupied East Jerusalem since the 1967 Middle East War and considers the entire city its capital. Though this is a main reason why they're beefing in Israel, because of territory. Though this is not recognized by the vast majority of the international community, you see? Like, they're all claiming territories that's not recognized by the others. Palestine claims East Jerusalem as the future capital of a hoped for independent state. So they're already claiming it in the future as a capital for themselves. And I also will note, which we will get to, how Palestine said that if Donald Trump were to recognize, and so you have to think about, why even does this matter to Israel, what Donald Trump or what an American has to say about what's going on with them in Jerusalem, when he even noted and said that Jerusalem was the capital over there. And what significance does that have for us between the both of them, and what does that mean as a whole, and why obviously Jews over there accepted that, but why some people don't like that, you feel me? So Palestinians claim East Jerusalem as future capital, so that's the end of this one, right? So if there's a sense that the Americans are distracted, now this was a part of the hold on. Let me go to the top, because this is a part of the article. All right, so U.S. and Israel launch a massive joint military exercise to send a message to Iran and others. A senior United States defense official said that the exercise is not orientated around a particular threat. They're saying it's not orientated around a particular threat, but that regional adversaries like Iran will take notice. So they're saying it's not orientated around a particular threat. Let's look at what that means. Oriented, I'm sorry. I said orientated. Oriented. They're saying it's not oriented. Orientation, oriented. So oriented or orientation is adjust oneself to a specific situation. So they're saying it's not adjusted to a specific situation around a particular threat, but that regional adversaries like Iran will take notice. But it is because they just told us the reason why they just did that. Okay, so United States F-35s will join a military exercise in Israel on Monday. The official said that the exercise is not subject. What? Pardon me. It's not orientated around a particular nation, but that regional adversaries like Iran will take notice. So, I mean, they just told us why they just did it after they said that it's not for anything particular, but it's for something particular. You know, like what? The scale of the exercise is relevant to a whole range of scenarios, and Iran may draw certain inferences from that. We can look up what that means too. May draw a certain Okay, so I don't think that's... Okay. So, and Iran may draw certain... I just saw the word. Inferences. Oh, yeah. Conclude by reasoning. So, and Iran may draw certain concludings by reasoning from that. The official said it's really meant mostly to kick the tires on our ability to do things at this scale with the Israelis against a whole range of different threats. So they're saying that it's really meant mostly to kick the tires on our ability to do things at this scale with the Israelis. So why are they connected? Why are they saying it? It's just really meant mostly to kick the tires on our ability to do things at the scale with the Israelis against a whole range of different threats. So they're saying that basically, what they're saying is really meant mostly to kick the tires on our ability to do things at the scale with the Israelis. So they're saying that they can come together whenever they want to come together against a whole range of different threats. But it would not surprise me if Iran sees the scale and the nature of these activities and understands what the two of us are capable of doing. Unlike many military drills, this one is all domain, meaning it includes naval, land, air, space, and electronic warfare exercises. Sadly, they're just showing us what they're going to do to us if we don't plot, if we don't go with what they want us to go with. Culminates with a live fire exercise that will expend 180,000 pounds of live munitions while simulating suppression of enemy air defenses, strategic air interdiction, and electronic attack. It's nice to know where all our money's going in these times of peace, right? The United States will use 4 United States Army HIMARS rocket launchers, laser-guided bombs, and stealthy low observable cruise missiles minus payloads. So it's just sad even reading about this. An exercise of this size would normally take a year or more to plan, but this came together in a matter of months. The official said not because of an imminent threat, but a window of availability. That's just sad. This is a sign that we continue to have Israel's back at a time where there's a lot of turbulence and instability across the region, the official said, and this is a chance to show that the United States and Israel can work together on a large scale in a short period of time. But what is the significance? What is the deep thing about this? Why? The exercise will run from Monday through Friday. The official could not say how Iran may react to the drills. Of course not. My guess is the next time they do a military exercise, they'll say, even if it was planned for months, they'll say it was reaction to this. I mean, they'll do something probably in the information space. The exercise comes as the United States military footprint in the Central Command region is smaller than it has been in decades, in part after the withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan in 2021, and fewer American service members left in Iraq, while the Pentagon and Central Command downplayed the decreased allies in a region where the United States is less committed to the area. I mean, this is like literally where our money's going. It's just obviously sad. If there's a sense that the Americans are distracted or the Americans are going away from the Middle East and therefore they have free reign for their malign activities, I think this will disabuse them, the official said. I suspect Iran will take note of that, but not only Iran. So they're saying China will take note of that, Russia will take note of that, other folks will take note of that. So they're sending a message to them. But wait a second, does this make any sense? Because we go back, when you guys made the United Nations together, well, so what is the point of the United Nations then? Because I thought the United Nations was crafted by the United States, United Kingdom, Russia, and China in the aftermath of World War II and signed by 50 countries. So, what's going on? Is there something you guys want to tell us? I suspect Iran will take note of that, but not only Iran, China will take note of that, Russia will take note of that, other folks will take note of that. What's going on? I thought, well, let's look at what the United Nations is saying they're here for. This is very off to me. Okay. Well, we'll get to it, brothers and sisters. Let's look here for a second. So, and in fact, hold on, let me go here. Hold on. So, this is Muhammad. As I did a study on Muhammad, you can do that on yourself, Father willing. Right now, I'm not being compelled to make a video on that. All in all, though, I mean, it's reasons on, and I'm not trying to say this for a Islamic brother that's looking at this to just feel like I'm downplaying himself and you know, and his religion, and you feel me, like trying to come at you. I'm not trying to come at you, but these studies are here for us all to do the studies. I'm not coming at any Islamic brother. I love you, bro. But if we look at why Muhammad did what he did, he's saying he saw his mission as an extension of the Abrahamic traditions of Judaism and Christianity. So he just based these religions off of the religions before that, but then he started a new doctrine. And our brothers told us, even if an angel brings you something different than what we're bringing you right here, he is not true. You feel me? This guy is telling us to pray a specific prayer 5 times a day. Our Father tells us to pray continually every day. We need to note what we're reading, note who we're following, why we're following them, and what is the purpose that we are trying to achieve in this life as a whole. Do you seek peace, not just during this life, but after this life? The Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit give you peace during this life and after, and are the only ones promising us that. So we need to take note of that. And you also need to understand that if he's saying that this mission was an extension of the Abrahamic in Judaism and Christianity, so our brother, our father, our forefather, our dad in the faith, Abraham, and Judaism and Christianity, I also suggest you read the Bible for yourself and do your own studies. This is what he's saying it's based off, right? Don't just take the Quran and run with that. At least read the Bible and understand that. You feel me? So that wasn't the point of this study, though. This was tying in something else. So therefore, the first Qibla, or direction in which Muslims should pray, was Jerusalem. Today, Muslims bow towards Mecca. In addition, Islamic tradition predicts that, I wanted you to all note this, Islamic tradition predicts that Jerusalem will play an important role in the future, naming it as one of the cities where the end of the world will play out. Though the world doesn't appear to be ending there right now, Trump's announcement has increased tensions in the region. So, Trump, come on, bro. Why y'all out here increasing tension? We don't need tension. I thought we stand for peace. The president's decision to recognize, block that off right there, but to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. I blocked it up, but is the negotiating alongside a peace treaty between the states. Man, dang. If I had a screenshot of that, I'm sorry. But okay, so whatever it says right there, there's a negotiated alongside peace treaty between the states. And in fact, hours before Trump's announcement, the Palestinian General Delegate to the United Kingdom stated that if the United States president recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, he would effectively be declaring war, right? All right, so this is already catching you for a loop, though, right? Because the United Nations was put together by these people. People are declaring war. Jerusalem is one of the areas where the world's going to play out. Jerusalem features prominently in the Hebrew Bible and the Jewish tradition. It is the place where Abraham, the first patriarch of Judaism, nearly sacrificed his son Yitzhak to God thousands of years ago, Isaac. Later, Abraham's grandson Jacob, who took the name Israel, learned that Jerusalem is the site that the Father, your Elohim, would choose from among all your tribes as a place established in his name, according to the book of Deuteronomy. That the people that made History.com, obviously this is History.com. Things to know, known for. Jerusalem is a city located in modern-day Israel and is considered by many to be one of the holiest places in the world. Jerusalem is a site of major significance for the 3 largest monotheistic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. And both Israel and Palestine have claimed Jerusalem as a capital city. Beefing over there. Wait, though. Our Father tells us, you will no longer be an object of mockery among the surrounding nations. I will drive away these armies from the north. I will send them into parched wastelands. Those in the front will be driven into the Dead Sea, and those at the rear into the Mediterranean. The stench of their rotting bones will rise over the land. Surely the Father of heaven has done great things. Just know the Father's working, man. You feel me? Because they over there beefing. But just know, we hopped into the greatest beef in history. The Father of lights against the Prince of air, the devil. Hold on. So this is the devil's Bible. On the opposite page of the portrait of the devil is an image of the heavenly city. This has been interpreted as the heavenly Jerusalem, mentioned in the book of Revelation. It was common in the Middle Ages to leave book spreads on display to convey a message to those who saw it. It is believed that the message intended here to show the rewards of a God-fearing life on one page and the horrors of a sinful life on the other. The Devil's Bible is meant to be a work of history. That's why it contains the Christian Bible in its entirety, the Jewish War and Jewish Antiquities by Flavius Josephus, whom I pray you all go and research. That brother, Flavius Josephus, go and learn about his mystery. An encyclopedia by Saint Isidore of Seville, and the Chronicle of Bohemia, written by a Bohemian monk named Cosmas. In addition to these texts, there are a number of shorter texts included as well, on medical practices, penitentiary, and exorcism, all the Satanism stuff. But this is a work of history, right? Let's keep going. The devil took him, Messiah, into the holy city, Jerusalem, and placed him on the pinnacle, highest point of the temple. The founding fathers read the Bible. There are many quotations from and allusions to both familiar and obscure scriptural passages tell us that they knew the Bible well. They knew the Bible from cover to cover. Biblical language and themes liberally seasoned the rhetoric, the phrases, and the cadences of the King James Bible especially informed the written and spoken words. The ideas of the Bible shaped their habits of mind and informed their political pursuits. The Bible was the most accessible and authoritative text for 18th century Americans. So the Bible was the most accessible thing to get, and authoritative text, which means basically real for 18th century Americans. We know this, for example, by looking at probate records, the catalogs of what people left behind when they died. And they reveal that if a family owned a single book, it was almost certainly going to be the Bible. So this was the one book that Americans will be most familiar with. So it shouldn't surprise us that effective communicators, especially politicians and polemicists, would invoke biblical language in an effort to connect with their audiences. And it is in fact significant that both Christians as well as skeptics among the founders would have appealed to Scripture in their rhetoric and their political discourse. And this includes American founders who were, as I said, skeptical of the transcendent claims of Scripture, including many founders who would have doubted the divine origins of Scripture. They too would have appealed to the Bible. In a now famous study published in the American Political Science Review, which is the flagship publication for political scientists, a political scientist by the name of Donald Lutz surveyed the political literature of the American founding. I think it just ends right there because I don't have anything else from that. Boom. So, all right, bet. So, just to jump here, we got more shootings over here in America, though. Where there are more guns, there are more gun deaths. If you look at a chart, I just noticed America is way above every other country in guns and gun deaths. Studies have found this to be true at the state and national level in 4 homicides, suicides, mass shootings, and police shootings. Stricter regulations on firearms are linked to fewer gun deaths. So why don't we take the guns away? Do they want less death? Obviously not. There are countries where they don't even use guns. We do that over here, though. But efforts to reduce access to firearms have mostly stalled in the United States. Why? They want to die. Unable to overcome the Supreme Court's interpretations of the Second Amendment, mixed public opinion, and a closely divided federal government. So America continues to suffer more mass shootings and gun deaths than its peers. Hold on. May seem like I'm jumping around, brothers and sisters, but stick with us. It'll all come together in the end. So we have Belial. Let's look at this. Is a term occurring in the Hebrew Bible. This is the enemy. This is the adversary. This is who we're going against. This is what this battle is all about, right? And I want you to look this up and read this whole entire Wikipedia article. Please do this. Please. Is a term occurring in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, which later became personified as the devil. In Christian texts of the New Testament, alternate spellings include Belial, Beliar, Belhor, Beliar, Beliar, Berial, Belial, and Belial. In a secret book of John, in early Gnostic texts, the ruler of the underworld is referred to as Belias. A woodcut of Belial and some of his followers from a German edition of Jacobus de Taramo's book, Consolatio Beccatarum Seru Process Luciferi. It's just nasty even looking at that photo. So Belial appears 15 times to indicate worthless people, to let you know whom some of your friends may be, whom some of your family members may be, because they've chosen to be worthless people at the time, at this moment. Does that mean that they cannot come into the light? We were worthless at a time as well. So don't ever forget your humble beginnings. But understand this life and understand the top enemies. There's the devil and his worthless people that's got following him. The people that have just sold out. Do you want to be a son of worthlessness or a son of light? So Belial appears 15 times to indicate worthless people. That's just sad. I looked at this and was just crying. Including idolaters, the men of Eli, the men of Gibeah, the sons of Eli, 1 Samuel 2:12, Nabal and Shimei. The Geneva Bible uses wicked, and at the book of Judges 19:22 as the marginal note. Every Hebrew men of Belial that is given to all wickedness. In the King James Version, these occurrences are rendered with Belial capitalized. The sons of Eli were sons of Belial. In modern versions, these are usually read as a phrase. Sons of Eli were worthless men. 1 Samuel 2:12 in RSV and NIV. The wicked men of the city, Judges 19:22. Belial is applied to ideas, words, and counsel, to calamitous circumstances, and most frequently to worthless men of the lowest sort, such as men who would induce worship of other gods. Those of Benjamin who committed the sex crime at Gibeah. The wicked sons of Eli, insolent Nabal, opposers of God's anointed, David, Rehoboam's city associates, Jezebel's conspirators against Naboth, and men in general who stir up contention. We're supposed to follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the master. So follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the master. We don't want to stir up contention. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the master. So if somebody's following this command, obviously we know that they are of the fruits of the Spirit, bearing fruits of the Spirit, bearing the joys from heaven, showing the kingdom of heaven if you're following peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the master. Talked about this. Now this, because to tie all this together, to go to United Nations, saying that they stand for peace, dignity, and equality on a healthy planet. One place where the world's nations can gather together, discuss common problems, and find shared solutions. Well, hold on though, because we just saw that they beefing though. They don't do this. But they lie about that. Interesting, right? That's very sad. So let's tie all this together. Like, what's going on, right? U.S. sharply condemns vandalization of Christian cemetery in Jerusalem's Mount Zion. So on Zion, Christian cemetery, they're condemning that. They don't like this. They don't like this right here. So PA and international community calls for accountability. Religious site vandalism by anyone is unacceptable. Jerusalem must be a city for all of its people, said the United States Office of Palestinian Affairs. which was established last summer in hopes of differentiating the United States-Palestine bilateral relationship from the United States-Israel relationship. So they got more of us out there in Israel. Just know what's going on, man. Do they stand for peace, dignity, and equality? Or are they lying? Now look at this. Now, the stuff above what I'm about to read to you is part of another study. When I wrote, they didn't want nothing to do with the basic level Jew. The higher level Jews, they wanted to be torn fully apart away. I say higher level Jews as in the ultra-Orthodox Jews, not to say that anybody's up. If you get what I'm saying. You feel me? Like, the ultra-Orthodox Jews that made a pact with the devil. That was just like a different study. But my point was getting at America's second president called the Jews the most glorious nation that ever inhabited the earth. So, America's second president called the Jews the most glorious nation that ever inhabited the earth. Why, brothers and sisters? Let's look at it. Is this why? Why did the nations rage and the peoples meditate emptiness? Why do the nations rage and the peoples think deeply upon emptiness? The sovereigns of the earth take their stand, and the rulers take counsel together against our Father in heaven and against his Messiah, and say, let us tear apart their bonds and throw away their ropes from us. He who was sitting in the heavens laughs. Our Father in heaven mocks at them. Then he speaks to them in his wrath and troubles them in his rage, saying, but I have set my sovereign on Zion, my set-apart mountain. I inscribe for a law. Our Father in heaven has said to me, you are my son. Today I brought you forth. Ask of me, and I make the nations your inheritance, and the ends of the earth your possession. Break them with a rod of iron, dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. And now be wise, O sovereigns. Be instructed, you rulers of the earth. Serve our Father in heaven with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the chosen, lest he be enraged and you perish in the way. For soon his wrath is to be kindled. Blessed are all those taking refuge in him. And I'll take it back to Psalms 1. The righteous and the wicked contrast. We differentiate. We are different. So blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the Torah of our Father in heaven, and he meditates in his Torah day and night. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water, that yields its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prospers. The wrong are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind blows away. Therefore the wrong shall not rise in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For our Father in heaven knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wrong comes to nothing. Their way comes to nothing. Ephesians 2:2. And you were dead in trespasses and sins, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the ruler of the authority of the air, of the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience, among whom also we all once lived in the lust of our flesh, doing the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, as also the rest. If you also note that now Satan is trying to push out, he's trying to over time delete things, obliterate things, take things away. So now I'm hearing a lot of people say, and I remember a lot of people used to speak a lot about the soul train, and soul things, a lot of soul talk, soulful music, and all these other things. Now I'm seeing that a lot of people are just saying mind and body, living with just what? The flesh and the mind, going by the desire of the flesh and the mind. We looked up soul, me and my wife, the other day in a dictionary. I'll look it up right now. soul is spiritual part of a person. Vital parts. Person. So, spiritual part of a person, the vital part. What does vital mean? Vital, of life, essential to life, very important, full of life, part of a person. So he's trying to already take away these people's souls. He's already trying to take away their vital part. What is vital again? Vital is of life, essential to life, very important, full of life, pieces and parts of us. He's trying to take away from us and already force us to just go by the desires of the flesh and of the mind with all of the temptation all around. Let's rebuke the devil. So, among whom also we all once lived in the lust of our flesh, doing the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath as also the rest. But Elohim, who was rich in compassion, because of his great love with which he loved us, even... Let's look up compassion, actually. So, compassion. Our Father is rich in compassion. Pity. So our Father is rich in pity. So let's look at pity. So our Father is rich in pity. Our Father is rich in sorrow for another's misfortune, cause for sorrow, regret. So he's rich in sorrow for another's misfortune. We need to be as our Father, be perfect as our Father is in heaven, and be the same way. Rich for sorrow for another's misfortune. Have compassion. Be rich for another, for sorrow for another's misfortune. That's just absolutely beautiful to me. Because of his great love with which he loved us. I love you, Father. Even when we were dead in trespasses, I was dead. You allow me to understand what it means to be alive. I felt dead inside all the time. I didn't know what it meant to be alive. I love the truth, bro. Even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Messiah. I love you, Messiah. By favor you have been saved, and raised us up together, and made us sit together in the heavenlies in Messiah Yahushua, in order to show in the coming ages the exceeding riches of his favor. In order to show in the coming ages the exceeding riches of his favor, in kindness toward us in Messiah Yahushua. For by favor you have been saved, through belief, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Elohim. It is not by works, so that no one should boast. What can I boast about? For we are his workmanship, created in Messiah Yahushua. All of this life was a gift to his Son, to a messenger from heaven, unto good works, which Elohim prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Therefore remember that you, once nations in the flesh, who are called this uncircumcision, by what is called the circumcision, made in the flesh by hands, that at that time you were without Messiah, excluded from the citizenship of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no expectation without Elohim in the world. But now in Messiah Yahushua, you who once were far off have been brought near by the blood of the Messiah. For he is our peace, who has made both one, and having broken down the partition of the barrier, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, the Torah of the commands and dogma, so as to create in himself one renewed man from the two, thus making peace, and to completely restore to favor both of them unto Elohim in one body, through the stake, having destroyed the enmity by it. And having come, he brought as good news peace to you who were far off, and peace to those near. Peace is free from strife and war. He brought us peace. We are free from strife and war, even here now. Rejoice, brothers and sisters, rejoice, because through him we both have access to the Father by one Spirit. So then you are no longer strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens of the set-apart ones and members of the household of Elohim. We are a part of the house, having been built up upon the foundation of the emissaries and prophets, Yahushua Messiah himself being chief cornerstone, in whom all the building, being joined together, grows into a set-apart dwelling place in our Father in heaven, in whom you also are being built together into a dwelling place of Elohim in the Spirit. May our Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit be with us. I want to taste the tree of life. I would do anything to earn the tree of life. I want to taste the tree of life. I would do anything to earn the tree of life. That's facts. May our Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit be with us. Let's read about it. And he showed me a river of water of life, clear as crystal, coming from the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb. In the middle of its street, and on either side of the river, was the tree of life, which bore 12 fruits, each tree yielding its fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. And no longer shall there be any curse. And the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be upon their foreheads. And night shall be no more, and they shall have no need of a lamp or the light of the sun, because our Father in heaven Elohim shall give them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. The sons of light reign forever and ever. And he said to them, these words are trustworthy and true. And our Father in heaven Elohim of the set-apart prophets has sent his messenger to show his servants what has to take place with speed. See, I'm coming speedily. Blessed is he who guards the words of the prophecy of this book. And I, Yohanan, saw and heard these matters. And when I heard and saw, I fell down to worship before the feet of the messenger who showed me these matters. He said to me, see, do not, for I'm your fellow servant, and of your brothers the prophets, and of those who are guarding the words of this book, worship Elohim. And he said to me, do not seal the words of the prophecy of this book, because the time is near. He who does wrong, let him do more wrong. He who was filthy, let him be more filthy. He who was righteous, let him be more righteous. He who was set apart, let him be more set apart. See, I'm coming speedily. My reward is with me, to give to each according to his work. I'm the Aleph and the Tzaddik. He is the only beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life, and to enter through the gates into the city. But outside of the dogs, and those who enchant with drugs, and those who whore, and the murderers, and the idolaters, and all who love and do falsehood, I, Yahushua, have sent my messenger to witness to you these matters in the assemblies. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. And the Spirit and the bride say, come. And he who hears, let him say, come. And he who thirsts, come. And he who desires it, take the water of life without paying. For I witness to everyone hearing the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds to them, Elohim shall add to him the plagues that are written in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Elohim shall take away his part from the book of life. And out of the set-apart city which are written in this book, he that bears witness of these matters says, yes, I am coming speedily. Amen. Yes, come, Master Yeshua. Come. The favor of our Master Yeshua Messiah be with the set-apart ones. Amen.